I'd like to introduce Jim Moore. Jim Moore is the author of 6 previous books of poetry, including Lightning at Dinner. He lives in St. Paul, Minnesota, and Spoleto, Italy. Is it Spoleto?
Spoleto.
Spoleto, Italy. Please welcome Jim Moore.
I'm very happy to be here. Feel lucky to be here, in fact. These great readers and this wonderful thing that Kimberly and Satish have done. Next year, you're going to do 2 months of readings. Is that right? Yeah. Oh, this is such a great thing. And it's true that also this is absolutely the best smelling place I've ever read in my life. You know now, I'll come out with a little bit of and it is true that I did live in St. Paul for many, many years, but now live in Minneapolis, I have to confess. I mean, I feel like I'm kind of betraying St. Paul a little bit, but I'm just so happy to be here. So, okay. Checking on a little time there. So I'm going to read some poems. Since I am in St. Paul, I've got this book called Invisible Strings, which came out in 2011, and it's got various sections, various places, and one of the sections is St. Paul. So this might be a good poem to read after hearing Ibe read his wonderful work, because this is called Trying to Leave St. Paul. So some of us are trying to come, some of us are trying to leave. It's just endless, all this. These are little short poems, and this one I put together into 4 sections. But I wrote, for several years, I wrote 7 short poems a day, more or less, and then kind of tried to stitch some of them together into sections. So this is called Trying to Leave St. Paul. 1. Little streets of St. Paul that lead nowhere. One of them ends where quiet drunks sit in the old September grass on top of a hill. Streetcars used to run here, through a tunnel cut into the hill. The sun rises so low in the cloud-filled western sky, it makes the empty bottles glow. 2. How far away it is possible to go from St. Paul in a single night of raucous dreams. I wake up before dawn, joyful, moon sliding in through the slats of our broken bamboo curtains. 3. A boy and his father cross the street. The first depends on the second fumbles for a map. 4. Yesterday we almost did it. Took off from St. Paul, driving south 30 hours to Florida. Almost gave in to sunlight, warmth, the sea. The biopsy report had come back negative, making me greedy for more. Coconuts, fresh shrimp, crickets past midnight under a full moon. I did so want to begin driving and never stop. Thank you. Very nice. So one of the great events that happened in my life was, in St. Paul, was getting married. So the 4 stages of love. 1. My father, how he lifted his glass at our wedding and with shaking hand welcomed love into my life. 2. Getting out of bed, you run the bath water and I sleep a moment longer, dreaming of a Greek island and flowers in a deep cavern. Very slowly I climb down for a closer look. 3. Driving the December road to St. Paul in winter sunlight, Bill Evans on the radio, maybe this is actually paradise, you said, and on we went from there. 4. I want to believe it when the pine tree out my window tells me I don't have to be afraid for my own death, not even love for yours. You start to get older, you start to write poems like that. Well, you know, you live over 2 decades in a place and things happen, good things, difficult things. This is a really short poem called Cell Phone. When their marriage ends, the two friends must be called, first one, then the other.
Wow.
Poem without an... No, let me read this one. Of all places. No, I'm not going to read it. Well, I want to read something a little more upbeat. This really doesn't work either. Let's see. Here's one. No. Okay. This is really crazy. Her joy. She lifts up a chair. She lines up a chair at her window, sets a book next to the chair. Everything waits for everything else to catch up. At 90, reading Proust in French, still looking out the window, it all matters. The postman with the well-trimmed beard who lives across the street, his regular route, how each night the sun sets and still the world goes on, even into darkness. Poem about my aunt. Poem without an ending. Listening to acorns fall, such a lovely sound. I thought it was the whole poem until I saw the girl in the paper with the mussed hair, the bombed bus, no one bothering yet to close those two black eyes. So I'm going to read a couple that aren't said in St. Paul. And this one's called First the Good News. The girls still wrap blue scarves around their long necks, then step out into the December air, laughing. I also have one called Done the Bad News, but I'll let that one go. Cold gray October sky. I walk under it, head lowered, carrying 4 books I love. In the long afterward. Almost 8 a.m., curtain drawn shut, lying in bed naked. It's not the same as sex, but close. As a door slams, a shoe crunches on gravel, walking away. Then the long afterward of lying still, happy, lonely, who can say which? The world just as it is, and the lover too, just so. Okay, I'm going to read a poem that now is sadly out of date. The first section, it's about turning 60. The poem is called, that came and went really fast. Birthday. So this is in 5 little sections too. 1, almost 60. From now on, even begonias are amazing. 2, oh, okay, everybody here's grown up. As in a dream in which a light flashes, and one has no choice but to follow it, I ran after the lightning bug along the railroad tracks the night before my 60th birthday, a little drunk, unafraid, laughing my fucking head off. Excuse me. 3, only in dreams now does my mother tell me to remember my sweater on these cool summer evenings. 4, walking past my 2 favorite pines, still dripping from the rain, I point them out to you, and you smile, and I am still 60. 5, you're such a great audience, thank you. 5, cottonwoods and wind, shakiness is the only way. Okay, I'll do one more here. Bewilderment. my best audience. I bring her everywhere. You know?
I was sending you ESP to do this.
Were you really? Oh,
Yeah,
it's scary. When we play cards, and she wants me to discard a certain card, she doesn't say anything out loud, but she sends me telepathy, and I do, and then I lose the game. So it's scary. Okay, this is called 5 Charms in Praise of Bewilderment. This is 5 short poems, too. 1. At first, when you leave town, the dog and I maintain dignified silence. After no more than 2 hours, I'm talking to her. After 3, she's telling me the story of her life. I nod my head at every word, encouraging her to take all the time she needs. 2. I have the vice of courting poems. Pathetic, I know. I also like to watch Oprah, if no one's around to notice. That's right, I court poems, I watch Oprah. I even let out wordless sighs late at night and call them my spring fields plowed, my ready earth. 3. Sitting quietly at dusk, I'll admit my life goes like this. Dark branches scratching the still darker window. 4. How are you? I ask a woman at work. I have no idea, she replies, sounding pleased with herself at the heartfeltness of her own bewilderment. 5. We don't know, can't possibly know, never have known, never will know, we just don't know.